Hughie Fury has appeared to sign some sort of co-promotional deal with Frank Warren and agreed to have his fights shown on Box Nation. He's fighting on Channel 5 next time out on the undercard of the Nick Blackwell versus Chris Eubank Jr. card. And that should be, a step-up fight, I guess, compared to the guys he's been in with his last two against Nagy Aguilera. But a fight that he should come through with a relative ease. Aguilera is decent, but he comes up short when he fights the top level prospects, and to my eye, Hughie Fury certainly appears to be that top level prospect. Now, it has been made clear today that Hughie Fury hasn't departed from Mick Hennessy. In many ways, Hennessy will still be involved in managing, promoting Hughie Fury, and it's apparent that this is some sort of co-promotional deal, etc., that's in a similar vein to the deal Tyson Fury had when he was working on Box Nation. Now, it's interesting that they've gone back and done a deal for Hughie, because that Tyson deal seemed to end slightly acrimoniously. There seems to be a bit of bad blood, people questioning other people's loyalty, etc., with the way it panned out, with Tyson then going on to fight Vladimir Klitschko on Sky Box Office rather than on Box Nation. So it's interesting that seems to be water under the bridge. They've obviously let bygones be bygones and put a deal together for business purposes. And Hughie Fury will now be fighting on Box Nation going forward. Now, I think this is a good deal for both parties. For Hughie Fury, it gives him a good platform. It's unclear whether the Mick Hennessy Channel 5 deal has much legs left in it. There's some rumours circulating that deal is coming to an end. And Box Nation will give Hughie Fury an option to get out semi-regularly. I'm not saying Box Nation have massive UK bills on every week, but they've got several big bills a year that he would be able to participate in. I also think that the audience of Box Nation is probably a more hardcore boxing audience than the audience of Sky or than the audience of Channel 5. And I think that audience is more likely to appreciate Hughie Fury. Hughie Fury's style, for me, he's quite technical, he's quite tactical. He's not, he's not a big mouth. He's not a guy with a devastating one-punch knockout ratio. He is a sort of very skilled, technical pedigree boxer, and I think that will go down well with the viewers of Box Nation. The guys who are tuning in, looking to watch Terry Flanagan fight, looking to watch Billy Joe Saunders fight, are going to be likely to buy into Hughie Fury. For Box Nation, I also think it's a beneficial deal. It's really, really good to have a heavyweight prospect who's undefeated and people can get behind. And, that is a surefire way to success. I'm not saying Hughie Fury is going to have the same levels of publicity as Tyson Fury, as Anthony Joshua, as David Price did back in the day. But it's easy to see the British public getting behind a heavyweight prospect who's on a run of, dominant victories. And I think for Box Nation, whose cards have sometimes been criticised for having a little bit of a lack of star power, having Hughie Fury as a co-main event type fighter, maybe having him fight 10 rounders as a co-main event to a guy like Terry Flanagan or a guy like Billy Joe Saunders, will really help raise his profile and also raise the profile of his shows. Frank Warren himself, I know he works with Alexander Ustinov. Potentially that's a fight that they could make, Hughie versus Ustinov, if Ustinov were to be unsuccessful against Luis Ortiz. There's a lot of other fights out there. Maybe the returning David Price. I know he's fought on Box Nation before. Certainly that's an option that could be looked at. One thing I would say is potentially this does make an Anthony Joshua versus Hughie Fury fight slightly less likely. Clearly, Anthony Joshua won't be fighting on Box Nation anytime soon, so it'd be interesting to see whether Frank and Mick Hennessy will be happy for Hughie Fury to fight on Sky if a fight like that were to be offered. I know they let Bradley Skeet go and do it, but Bradley Skeet is perhaps a lesser known fighter with less options in front of him. So, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I think it's a good move. Hughie's 21, he doesn't need to be rushed, but regular activity, fighting every other month, fighting on decent bills in 10-round fights is what he needs, and I look forward to it. I think it's good news, and hopefully we'll see Hughie Fury in good fights, progressing to more competitive matchups towards the end of the year. Let me know your thoughts. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button.